Hey, it's New Thought Talk. I'm your host, the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center, located in Fresno, California, and welcome to the show today. I'm glad you're with us. So I want to start off the show today with a question. When you woke up this morning, first thing, did you expect something good or great to happen in your life? Did you wake up this morning with an expectation that today is going to be a great day? Regardless of what's on your list, regardless of what obstacles you might be facing. Sometimes we call our obstacles problems, but it makes no difference. Did you wake up today expecting something great to happen? You know, it's amazing. Waking up with that type of expectation is something that we can all do, regardless of where we're at in our lives. And it's something that we learn to do it until it becomes a habit. You know, you just keep working it, and all of a sudden one day you wake up with that expectation. And it's amazing how life will answer that expectation. You know, at the Spiritual Awareness Center, we are a spiritual philosophy of faith, and we also teach this as an aspect of creating a way of life for yourself. And, you know, being able to take our connectedness with God, Spirit, Source, First Cause, however you want to define or explain God, you know, to have that connectedness and know that connectedness and experience that in our day-to-day life is a very empowering thing. You know, we're all on a journey. Our journey is from the time we wake up into this life to the time that we go to sleep in this life. But the truth is that as beings, we never really go to sleep. We're part of an infinite creative source, and as such, we are infinite created beings. And each and every day that we experience in this reality that we call a material reality, or our life, is a gift. That first breath that you took when you came into the world, and each breath after that is a gift. And it's a gift that is given in a loving consciousness, and a consciousness of completeness too. And what I mean by a consciousness of completeness is when we came into this world, everything that we had need in order to express our life fully has been available to us. Truth be told, most of us don't know that. Matter of fact, almost all of us don't know that. And yet it's there, and we see that in people that they make that connection. They get it in themselves that, you know, there's more to life than just getting up in the morning. And they wake up with that expectation of something great's happened today or is going to happen today. And they meet the day with that expectation. They go forth into the day, and that day begins to bring good into their lives. And as they live each and every moment of their life, they leave their best self in each moment as it passes on, so that they live life to the fullest. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about someone that's like an athlete that's in training, or someone that's charged with leading a corporation. I'm talking about each and every one of us as we go through our moment-to-moment life. You know, when we have an expectation of good, it doesn't mean that only good is going to come to us. We tend to attract good, that is true, but life comes at us at the speed of life. So as we have an expectation for good, when obstacles do arrive, when problems seem to come at us, and we have an understanding of our relationship to the divine presence, to God, you know, life can come at us at the speed of life, but we're never alone. We're never without resource. We're never without help, guidance, and we're never without the goodness of God's love with us. And that resource will help carry us through to the other side of whatever obstacle it is, or opportunity, as some people like to say, may bring to us. And when we get to the other side, if we have met that challenge and we have moved through it in a conscious way, when we get to the other side, we can realize that it might have been tough. There may have been sadness involved, but there is some goodness that's there also. And as we begin to recognize that goodness, as we begin to see that unfold in our life, we can begin to be grateful for all that happens to us. And I've talked to people, I've shared with people this idea of being grateful for all that happens. And, we have no problem being grateful for what we call the good things. And it's kind of easy to be grateful for the things that are marginal. But what about the things that are tough? What about the things that pull at our soul and our heart? What about the things that are, we may describe as tragic? Can we meet those things and see the good in them too? I believe we can. It's difficult if you're not used to seeing life in those terms, but it doesn't have to be difficult. You can learn how to live life fully and live it fully with an expectation of good. And that's what we teach in New Thought in the Science of Mind. That's what we teach at the Spiritual Awareness Center. People come in and, oftentimes people come to the Spiritual Awareness Center to learn some of the tools that we teach, and they go back to their home church, if you will, or their home temple. There's nothing that we teach that is exclusive of what someone else may believe or may teach or have or experience. And so there's tools, and you can take these tools and you can put them into practice in your life. There was an author years ago, he's no longer with us, but he wrote a book called The Handbook to Higher Consciousness. And his name was Ken Kais Jr., and he had what he called his 12 pathways. And basically they were 12 affirmations that as we begin to learn them and memorize them and put them into practice in our life, as life came at us and presented various things, they were ways of opening our consciousness up to an attitude of acceptance. And I've taught that book many times, and I don't know when it was, but at some point the concept of it's not about being in a state of higher consciousness, although that may be. It's about being in a state of acceptance. We can fight life, we can complain about life, we can struggle with life, or we can accept what life brings to us. And as we accept what life brings to us, that puts us in a position of consciousness where we can be directive in how we experience that. And no matter what happens in our life, our experience is not really based so much on the physical event itself, but it's based on how we interpret that physical event, how we believe that, understand that physical event. And that's why two people can experience the same thing, and one person may be, just really up and have enjoyed it, and the other person may find it, not so good, maybe even of a negative nature. And we see this play out in life all the time, and we really don't think much of it. Part of that is this amazing thing that we have within our brain, and this subconscious or subjective mind that we call it, which holds our memories, it holds thoughts, it also holds a lot of beliefs. And a lot of times the beliefs that it holds are beliefs that we're not even aware of. We don't even realize that we have those beliefs, and yet they're there. And as beliefs, our beliefs create our reality, and they're sitting there and helping us go through life or hindering us as we go through life, depending on what those beliefs are. As a young child, we hear many things growing up, and we know in a scientific sort of way that the part of the brain that does the filtering, this is the prefrontal lobe, prefrontal cortex, that filters out when negative things are said to you or about you. And as an adult, you go, well, that's just not true, and it doesn't bother you. You let it just pass by. As a child, growing up, we don't have the advantage of that filtering mechanism because it hasn't matured in our brain, and it really doesn't until we're almost 20 years old. So we collect a lot of things during those early years of our life, and a lot of those things get stored as memories, and oftentimes they get filed away in our mind as beliefs. And so often they're limiting beliefs. Life's tough. You can't do something because of, and you can fill in the whatever behind the because of, and you can either let that direct you and let that determine how you experience things when problems come. Well, of course problems come. Life's tough. Or you can look at that and go, you know, that's not a problem. It's an opportunity for me to learn how to grow beyond whatever that is. But in order to get to that point, you've got to believe that you can get to that point, and you've got to believe that life's not tough. Life is just what is. And so I get excited sometimes when I share this with people. You know, we all have things going on in our life that we can feel very joyful about. We all have things going on in our life that we may feel very sad about. But what's going on in our life has no power to determine whether we're in harmony and peace within ourselves, and thus having the capacity to be, even during trying times, to hold a level of joy within our beingness. You know, there's many examples that life has presented to us, history has presented to us of people that have really been in dire straits, and they have been under just horrendous conditions, and yet they have found within themselves the ability to experience joy and love and happiness, and that's available to each and every one of us. And that's what excites me about what I teach, is because, you know, what we teach here in New Thought, in religious science, is just that within each and every one of us there is that within us which has that ability to experience that and to be, if you will, the guiding factor in our life. And we're going to pick it up in our next segment. We're going to take our first commercial break, and I'll see you when we come back. Thanks.
Come out this Saturday at 11 a.m. at Home Fundings Corporation's free home buying workshop, located at 191 West Shaw Avenue, Suite 204 in Fresno, California. Seats are limited, so call now and reserve your seat. Call 559-418-0794. Again, the number is 559-418-0794.
We've been thinking about this for a while on how we can really match up economic development and workforce development.
In order to have successful businesses, the businesses needed a successful workforce. And so the EDC and the DSS partnered together to put together training programs that are tailored to specific industries.
We need to have our clients be private sector focused, private sector ready, and better to learn that from the private sector than from the government.
This was a different idea, and this intrigued me. I've got 3 guys out in the field working, no problem at all with them, very good kids. I enjoy hiring people that need a second chance. The employees that work for us are our most important asset. That's why I have to have good employees. We need to all work together and try to figure out on how to do this, and that's why I like the program.
Help build the Reedley College Center for Fine and Performing Arts by making a donation at sccd.edu/donate. When you need a dentist who has a passion for superior aesthetics and comfort, you need Dr. Christopher Wong with Cedar North Dental. Call 559-432-4948 or visit cedarnorthdental.com. To book Zach Krikorian, email zackyboy@mindspring.com or call 559-348-8080. You can also friend request Zach Krikorian at facebook.com/Zach.Krikorian. When you need a realtor, call Alice Brown Harris with Guarantee Real Estate. Call 626-893-7663. Connect with Dr. Alan Hedberg. Watch Doctor Teach Me to Parent on CentralValleyTalk.com Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Listen to The Psychology Report anytime at thepsychologyreport.buzzsprout.com. Visit booksbyhedberg.com and order a book for your personal growth. And join the conversation on twitter.com/Alan G. Hedberg. Choose your phone, not your carrier, with Wireless Connection Merced, located at 3144 G Street, Suite 145 in Merced, California. Wireless Connection sells new and used phones, offers cell phone repair, and will unlock phones from any carrier. Call 209-626-5554 or visit wirelessconnectionmerced.com.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Hey, welcome back to New Thought Talk. I am your host, Reverend Steve Walling, from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in beautiful downtown Fresno in the Tower District. And should you choose to join us some Sunday, you can find us at the Fresno Soap Company Theater. We meet there. It's at 1470 North Van Ness. And we have our meditation at 10 o'clock, and our lesson starts at 10:30. I'd like to have you come join us if you can. Anyway, I was talking about life. Life is our experience of how we choose to experience life, and that can be kind of a big bite for a lot of people to grasp, but we spend so much of our life trying to find happiness and fulfillment, and we look everywhere. We look to family, we look to friends, we look to relationships, we may look to our job, we look to recreational activities, we look to so many things. All those things are outside of ourselves. And, at some point, sometime, they may bring us a little bit of happiness, a little bit of fulfillment, but it's fleeting. It comes and it goes. And the next thing that follows it up is maybe not so good. And then all of a sudden, our highs turn into our lows. And it's not about finding fulfillment outside of ourselves. And that's a big lesson for a lot of people to learn. But when we learn that lesson, we begin to look where we truly can find happiness, and that's within ourselves. There's many ways you can do it. A spiritual journey is a very, very powerful journey. Of course, I highly recommend it for people that, even if, it's funny. I've had people ask me about, what about people that don't believe in God? And the thing is, just because you do or don't believe in something we call God doesn't mean that you're not a spiritual person. I know a lot of people that claim to be atheists that are still very spiritual. And the words that they use to define their spirituality may be a little different, but we're still talking about the same thing. And once we get over our judgments and objections of what, how people address their individual spirituality or what they call their own spirituality, well, then we can move on to more important things like, finding that within ourselves that is nurturing to ourselves, that is, there's energy within us that we can reach, that we can touch, that is beyond our greatest ability to imagine. An example of this was that somewhere at home I've got a newspaper article that was dated about 1980, and it was a newspaper out of San Diego, and it was a woman that, this rather small woman, she was dropping her daughter off at school, and as she began to pull away, she heard a scream, and she stopped her car, and it was like a 1972 Cadillac, this huge car that had run over a little girl and was actually kind of on top of her. This woman got out of her car, ran over a little bitty woman, and attempted to lift a big Cadillac, as if, any of us are going, yeah, right, like that's going to happen. She said she tried once and she strained and nothing happened. And then she said she reached down inside of herself, and that's the key point. She reached down inside of herself and asked God to give her the strength to lift this car, and she did. No one knows how it happened. There was witnesses that saw it. The little girl was pulled out from underneath. She was brought to the hospital, and she survived. Where did that strength come from? It's not, we got all these TV shows that, Wonder Woman and Superman and all this other good, happy stuff, but that's all fine and dandy in the world of imagination. But what about in the world of reality? Reality is what we experience and we call reality. So this woman, her reality is that at one point in time, she had the strength to lift this car off this little girl, big, heavy car. And I've read other events where, a car's dropped on a husband or a son, and mom has gone out and lifted it up. These are people that in day-to-day life, maybe they can lift, a 50-pound sack of flour, but that may be pushing it. And where did that strength come from? Well, it came from within. And that's nice, we can talk about physical strength, but what about the strength to experience life? What about the strength to be happy? What about the strength to overcome these so-called obstacles or problems that we have in our life? That strength is there also. Joy and happiness are important, but being able to experience life from what I'll call a perspective of expectation is really what is, for me, is a lot of the underlying foundation, if you will, for how we can address life each and every day. I opened up and I said, did you wake up this morning with the expectation that today was going to bring something great in your life? And if you didn't, why not? It's not that hard. You have it within you to do and be all that you think you can if you believe you can. So if you wake up in the morning with an expectation that today's going to bring something great into my life, you'll expect it. Something will happen. It'll be great. You'll go, wow, where did that come from? Well, it came from that same place that strength came from. It came from within you. People talk about the law of attraction, law of this and law of that. There's one fundamental law, that there's a power and a presence, and it is the creative force and source and substance of all good in the universe. And it doesn't sit out there somewhere away from us. It lives in the center of our being. In one of Jesus' teachings, he said, the kingdom of heaven is within. And I don't think he was being metaphorical. I think he was being literal, that the kingdom of heaven is found within us. And that kingdom of heaven is a kingdom of pure potentiality that we can tap into, that we can touch, that we can draw on at the level that we know and believe that we can draw on it. If we don't believe we can draw on it, then there's nothing there for us. If we believe we can draw on it to a little extent, then to a little extent we can. If to use the example of the woman that lifted the car, there was something in her in that one moment when she went within herself and said, God, give me the strength. She absolutely believed that the strength was there for God to move through her, and that car came off that child. That's awesome. We can say it's miraculous, but it's just my personal belief. It's just God doing and being what God is, an ever-present, infinite source of good in each and every one of our lives. And that's fine in the great moments like that. But what about in the, between 9 to 5 each and every day? Are we at our job, and are we just doing our job? Are we being at home? Are we being a parent? Are we, what are we doing? And we're just being there? Are you leaving your best self in each moment as it passes? There's a big difference than just being there and leaving your best self. The nature of things is the fundamental quality of that particular thing. And it's the nature of life to live, not just to exist. We can look at things in a petri dish with a microscope, and we see these little creatures moving around and stuff, and that's kind of interesting. And there's all sorts of scientific information that can be drawn off it, but there's information that can be drawn off it that anybody, you don't have to be a scientist, that anybody can see. And that information is that those little creatures in that petri dish, whether they're a single cell organism or a multi-cell organism, they're striving to live life. There's one life. That life is God, and it's our life. And understanding that opens up a whole new perspective, a whole new vista of understanding for ourselves. When I say there's one life, that doesn't mean that you and I were all just this homogeneous being, because we're individualized. But there is a life energy that is pervasive. It's everywhere. It's infinite. And that life energy that it creates and exists in and as us, through us, in each and everything. Looking at what we would consider non-living things, and having an understanding that, well, maybe there's some kind of life that exists within that. For the Western mind, that's a little difficult. But in Eastern philosophies, they often say that God sleeps in the rocks and awakens in the flowers and the grasses and smiles in humanity. God is in everything. If God is infinite, there's no place, no space, there's nothing where God is not. And God is that life principle. That it is living in consciousness may not be, but it's still a God presence that's there, the God substance that's there. And as we begin to look at this, and from that perspective, everything that we see in life, everything that we do in life, there's the presence of the divine that's in it. Can you get excited about that? Can you look at that and go, man, that's amazing, because it really is. But it's only amazing if we believe it's amazing. You know, I've had people that have confronted me and said, well, you know, there's things that are bad or evil, and how do you offset that against this concept of an infinite loving God being everywhere present? And the thing is, things happen. You know, we look into nature and we see things that happen that if we don't put judgment on it, it's just things happening. You know, predators kill prey in order to exist, and we understand the predator-prey relationship, and we don't put any judgment on it. It may be a little tough to watch, but that's nature, and we understand nature. When people do similar types of actions, you know, we put a judgment on it. We put the judgment on it because people have consciousness. They have the ability to discern what's right and wrong. So what happens with these people that behave in a manner that we would consider to be called wrong or evil? And I believe that it's those people are people that are so stuck in their physicalness and their reality that they have no God concept in their consciousness. So they feel that they're separate from everything. And as separate individuals from everything, oftentimes it has a very negative effect on their consciousness and how they behave. And on the most simplistic level, if I'm separate now from everything else, then when I look at the world, when I look at the physical reality, I see lack, limitation. I see a need to not only survive, but to conquer in a way that oftentimes means that I treat other people poorly, whether that conquering is in a personal relationship, whether it's in a job, or whether it's, you know, in society, or whether it's nationally, and it's there. It's not that God's goodness is not there. It's that individuals have divorced themselves in their minds and their consciousness from the good that exists within them. And the thing is, when we run across people like that, no matter where it is in our life, the thing to remember is, and again, this is another teaching of Jesus when he said, you know, we're to love God with all that we are. And, you know, he said, all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, all your being. Basically, love God with all that you are. And to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And he said, on these two commands hang all the laws and the prophet. And the thing is that when we love God with all that we are, and we realize that God is expressing through us, that also means that we love ourselves with all that we are. But when we love our neighbors as we love ourselves, and we love our neighbors as we love ourselves and we love God, there was no caveat to that. There's no side note that says except for some individual. That means every individual, including those individuals that have done what we may define and judge as, to be bad or negative things. But the being, the individual, we can still love. That doesn't mean that we can't put up boundaries. We can put up boundaries. We have a right to live life in being free of other people's bad behavior. But we can still love those people regardless of their behavior. And that's what he's talking about. When we begin to live life at that level, what are we doing? We're living life at a level of acceptance, accepting other people for who and what they are without judgment. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. I don't know about you, but I see it all over the place where acceptance, one of the last things we see, and I think that's one reason for a lot of the chaos we see in the world. On that note, I'm going to take my next break, and we'll pick it up there when we come back. Thanks.
hardworking, experienced, and capable. With a record of success over more than 2 decades, the law office of Kevin G. Little is one of the preeminent small firms in Fresno. We represent our clients in a variety of matters, including civil rights, employment, personal injury, general civil litigation, family law, bankruptcy, and criminal cases. Our firm also offers excellent mediation services in civil and family law matters. We approach each case with dedication, aiming to protect you and exceed your expectations. Contact us today at 559-342-5800 and visit kevinglittle.com.
Visit Princess and the Pauper, where you'll find everything from new and consigned furniture, lighting and art, a line of candles, French soaps, and mineral paint. Whether your style is old world, modern, or a little bit of everything, you'll find it at Princess and the Pauper, located at the southeast corner of Bullard and West. And now you can visit Princess and the Pauper's online store at princessandthepauper.net.
Shula Davis is your farmer's insurance agent, and she'll help you find the insurance plan that's right for you. Call 559-900-2744 or email sdavis5@farmersagent.com.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back, New Thought Talk. I am your host, the Reverend Steve Walling. Hope you've enjoyed the show so far. We're going to pick it up. I was talking about acceptance in the last segment, and it's kind of been a theme for the show today, but this idea of meeting life on its terms in your consciousness of being self-empowered, knowing that there is a greater good available to you. And so we wake up in the morning, we have an expectation of greater good. How do we get that? How do we get that habit? As I said, it is a habit. We get to that by doing things like affirmations, and we read, we study. You know, for people that are on a spiritual path, I highly recommend that they spend a little time each day reading something that is inspiring. It's easy to read stuff every day that is self-defeating or is chaotic or whatever. You're more important than that. You're more important than the evening news. You're more important than the neighborhood gossip or whatever. So the thing is that if you're more important than that, who do you got to tell? You got to tell the person that's the most important person for you to impress in your life, and that person is you. If you're not taking the time to make yourself important to you, do you think other people are going to take the time to make you important? Absolutely not. You teach other people how that they should treat you. And so if you begin to say, okay, I am important, that's an affirmation. How about, here's what I've got written down. Good things are supposed to happen to me. Good things are supposed to happen to me. Do you believe it? Oh, I heard a fellow talking here not too long ago, and he asked a friend if what his friend was doing, and his friend told him, he said, well, he was going to create this thing. He says, do you want to create it? He said, oh yeah. He says, do you believe you'll create it? Well, maybe. And then he asked the hard question. He said, do you expect that you'll be able to create it? And he got kind of a blank look. If we want something, but we don't have the expectation that it's going to transpire in our lives, then basically we're just daydreaming. Daydreaming is well, my folks just say it's a waste of time. I don't know it's a waste of time. I think a lot of creativity can come out of daydreaming, but if you spend all your time doing it, you're eating up that time that you could be living life more abundantly, more fully. So when you begin to think about this stuff, maybe a little daydreaming is not too bad. But you got to move beyond daydreaming, and you got to recognize, okay, I want to be healthy, I want to be spiritual, I want to be happy, I want to be successful. What are you going to do? You got to make that decision. If you say you want something, if you want to be healthy, then you have to expect to be healthy in order to have good health in your life. If you don't have that expectation of being healthy, then you'll deal with whatever life brings. If you have an expectation of living a healthy life, then you'll do those things that in your life that lead to a more healthy way of living. If you want to be happy, it's the same thing. Happiness, like I said, doesn't come from external things, doesn't come from outside ourselves. The happiness that we experience comes from within. The one thing that we can do for ourselves each and every day is to be the creative force and source behind the happiness that we experience. And if we don't do it, no one else is going to do it for us. Yeah, we have people that love us and they'll do things for us, but whatever they do and whatever they are doing is limited, and it's their experience. And it's our reaction to their experience and what they're doing. But still, where does that happen? That happens within us. You know, have you ever had somebody that has done something nice for you and you've snapped at them because you didn't realize they were doing something nice? You didn't have it in consciousness and you hurt their feelings? People do that, you know, and then they feel bad afterwards. Have you ever had somebody do something for you that may have been meant to be hurtful, but you took it in a way that it was helpful and you thank them for it wholeheartedly? In the perplexed look that they get on their face, they don't understand. But, you know, all of a sudden that whole dynamic can change, and, you know, that which may have been intentional to hurt, when it is accepted in harmony and love, all of a sudden the individual that has desired to inflict the hurt can have a change of consciousness, a change of heart. It's amazing. You know, we often say, if you want to change your life, you got to change your way of thinking. That's true. But you also have to change your way of interacting with the world. And that comes from not just choice, and choice is important, but decision. And the difference between choice and decision is followed by action. You know, we can choose to be healthy or happy. That's kind of wanting to be healthy and happy. But if we don't do anything, it's in that daydream stage. But if you want to be healthy or happy, if you want to be successful, if you want to live life in an adventurous sort of way, you're not going to do it sitting on the couch. You've got to get up, you got to get out, and you got to do things. You know, if you're overweight and out of shape, it means you're going to start by not going on a diet. People do diet, but diets are limited, and most oftentimes diets are not, they don't lead to the desired state. What you want to do is you want to create a healthy lifestyle. So that means we're going to change, not by going on a diet necessarily, but we're going to change how we eat in our whole life experience. We begin to eat healthily. And we begin to do those things, those physical activities that work on the body, that stress the body to a point that it can respond to that stress in a positive way, and it grows, and the lungs get healthier, the muscles get tighter, the excess weight on the body goes away, and another thing that happens as we do that, we begin to feel better. A healthy body really is a good foundation for feeling good. Doesn't mean you can't feel good if you're not healthy. That's not what I'm saying. But if you are healthy, if you are in good shape, it's a strong point to move from. But you got to get there if you're not there. So how do we get there? We make that choice, but we make it a decision, and we begin to take action behind it. And as we take that action, things begin to change. Now, one of the things with taking action in our life, whether we're taking action to create happiness in our life or health in our life, is, it's like New Year's resolutions. I don't know about you, but according to scientific studies, and I'm not the author of those studies, I just read them, but about by this time of the year, any of those New Year's resolutions that you were so adamant about on December 31st, January 1st morning, you've probably blown past them. They're probably on a shelf somewhere. And you know what? This year at the end of the year, you'll pull them out, dust them off, and they'll be your New Year's resolutions for next year. And where's that going to get you? Well, it'll get you another year down the line without doing the things that you want to do, not accomplishing the things you want to accomplish. And where are you? You're right where you're at. You know, if you want to see things differently in your life, you have to do things differently in your life, which means that when we make those New Year's resolutions, or whether it's a February 1st resolution or it's a birthday resolution, doesn't make any difference. We got to make the choice to do it. We have to follow that up with a decision, which means we're going to take action. And when we take action, we have to do one more thing. We have to commit and follow that commitment with willpower. Now, willpower is not it's not the strongest tool that we have available, but it is very important. The most powerful tool we have available to us is our imagination, and I think I've talked about that in past shows, and I'll talk about it in the future. But for today, right now, I'm just going to talk about willpower. Willpower is that within us that we use to focus our mind on the things that we say we're committed to, and then to move beyond the resistance. You know, Newton's law of motion, a thing in motion tends to stay in motion. That's fine. But a thing at rest tends to stay at rest. And if that's where we're at, if we're at rest and we want to see more good in our lives, then it's time to create a little bit of motion. And as we create motion, motion will continue to will move forward. But in the initial stages, we have to overcome something that's called inertia. Now, we get that when we're moving something like this, we overcome inertia. But what about when we're making a movement in our life? You know, the inertia that we overcome is our old habits, is our old beliefs, the beliefs that we hold on that level that we're not even aware of, that say we're not good enough, we can't, we'll never amount to, and all those self-limiting beliefs. But you know, people blow past those beliefs every day. People, sometimes they don't even realize it. You know, have you ever found yourself in a situation finishing up something that until you got done with it, up until that point you believed that you could never do it? You know, it might have been just the stress in the moment, the circumstances of the moment, and all of a sudden, bang, and there you are, you're at the end, you look back and you go, wow, how did that happen? Because in that moment, you were so focused on what you were doing, you didn't let your belief systems hold you back. Well, as we go through our life day to day, those belief systems are there. It's like the Chinese water torture drip, you know, drip, 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 drip. And we've got to overcome that drip. You know, maybe put a pan underneath it, and when it gets full, empty the pan, but don't let the drip get to the center of our being. And we do that with our willpower. Our willpower allows us to focus on our commitment. Our commitment is our conscious desire to follow up on the decisions we make to create that action. So we overcome that inertia. It can be tough, no doubt about it, but it's nothing that anybody can't do. I don't care where you're at in your life today. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care how many problems, obstacles you've got. You can overcome those. You can overcome them. You can transcend them. You can move on, and you can become a stronger, healthier, and more happy individual. But you have to first make a choice, follow it through with a decision and action and commitment, and then keep your willpower focused on the outcome. And it's the outcome is ultimately where we want to get to. And that's that outcome. If we focus on the outcome, that again, that imagination that I talked about comes into play, and it pulls us. Instead of having to push towards it, the outcome, our belief in the outcome pulls us towards it until we get to where we're actually in that state, we're making that motion. You know, I'll use people that exercise, people that exercise, that are committed to that healthy exercise program, have no problem getting up and meeting that commitment each and every day, whatever their goals are for that day. They get up and they do them. And it's not even a thought process anymore. It's a habit, and they do it. And their motion is that motion, and their actions are those actions, and they move forward. And sometimes when things disrupt those actions and motions, people that are committed, it's like a bump in the road. They take the bump and they go and they move on. And you can do that too. Whatever you put in your New Year's resolution basket, if it's up on the shelf, pull it down. Take a look at it today. Pick one item out of there. You know, don't try to take the whole basket on, but just pick one item and begin to work on it. Write it down each day. You know, the process of writing down, it's a mechanical process with the hand, but it's a nerve process that goes to the brain, and the brain it interacts with the mind, and we set this up and we begin to build new habit patterns because we're building new beliefs. When you start something new, all right, maybe you don't believe because you haven't done it in the past that you can continue doing it. But at each day that you can continue doing it, each day that you commit to that doing it, you begin to build up that belief in doing. You begin to create habit patterns in the brain. You create new nerve connections in the brain, and the body begins to move in that direction. And there's a whole energy dynamic that moves along with it, and you create more good in your life. Looking at the clock, it looks like it's about time for me to take my third and last break. So I'm going to take my break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this and finish up for today. Glad you've been with us.
Whether you're looking for a place to rent or you have a property you would like to rent out, call the experts at Real Property Management Platinum at 559-324-9400 and visit rpmfresno.com. Beverly Patterson is your independent SeneGence distributor. If you're looking for lipstick that won't budge for up to 18 hours or any other long-lasting beauty supplies, contact Beverly at 559-360-7709 or visit senegence.com/Beverly. Are you tired of being turned down because of your credit? Recovery Credit Repair can help you permanently remove your negative credit and improve your FICO score. Call 559-372-2823 or visit recoverycreditrepair.com. Trying to sell a home or property? Call real estate agent Melanie Littlefield. Melanie produces buyers, not expired listings. And if you're looking to buy a home, Melanie is the agent for you. Contact real estate agent Melanie Littlefield at 559-719-7250 or email melaniec21av@aol.com. The Saga of Bridget and Amanda by Carol Love Forbes brings to life the struggles of historical women in early America. Find The Saga of Bridget and Amanda on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and order your copy today. Are you having financial troubles and are considering your options? Before filing for bankruptcy, call Katerina Benitez at Benitez Law Firm, PC, 559-472-7337. Come learn how to be a better author at the Christian Writers Seminar at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church on Saturday, February 10th, 2018. Fresno Rescue Mission's Rescue the Children program is a protected, secure environment providing emergency and long-term services to women at risk, abused, homeless, previously incarcerated, and women with children. The community provides women and their children a place to get away from destructive lifestyles, offering a place to heal, learn, and grow. Give to the Fresno Rescue Mission today.
Gained a lot, learned a lot, and got a lot of love. If it weren't for the knowledge that I had gained from the classes at PCC, I probably wouldn't be the mom I am today. See, there it goes.
I would love you to meet my son, Aaron. My situation was very difficult. I didn't know how my life was going to turn out.
We graduated in June 2010 and we got married in July. And through family, the Pregnancy Care Center changed our lives.
The Pregnancy Care Center was a huge, vital part in helping me walk through that pregnancy, in educating me and loving on me during that time.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back to New Thought Talk. I'm your host, Reverend Steve Walling. Anyway, I was talking about this idea of using willpower to focus and the decisions and that. Go back to the last segment. If you're online, you can catch it again. But the thing is, you got to understand, you have greatness within you. You're more powerful than you have any idea. Most all of us are. We just don't know. We don't know because we've never been told. We've never been pushed. until all of a sudden something happens, like the woman I referred to in the earlier segments of the show. But the thing is, you are more powerful, and you do have greatness within you. One of the things that I do with, or not that I do, but one of the things I share with our congregation at the Spiritual Awareness Center is this idea of what I call the 3 Gs. And the 3 Gs are God, gratitude, and goals. And I start each day with those, and I end each day with those. I take my time, and I do my prayer work and meditation. I make my connection with the divine presence, and I give thanks. The 2nd G, I give thanks for the good that's either going to happen in my day if I do this in the morning, or the good that has happened in my day if this is the end of the day. And you know, no matter what happens throughout the day, there's always good to be grateful for, no matter how tough life's been for that day. And when you have an understanding that life is for us and not against us, there's always good to be grateful for in that. And the goal thing is really kind of, it's one of those things that, you know, you don't have to write out a list of 50,000 major goals. Just a goal or two that you want to accomplish. If you're starting at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, what do you want to accomplish tomorrow? One goal. It might be making sure that you let your spouse know in a very special way on that day how important they are in your life, or to one of your children, or to, you know, when you show up at work, maybe there's a coworker or something, or, you know, I mean, it can be that simple, or it may be something like, you know, certain bills that have to be paid, certain papers that have to be written. If you're a student, certain homework assignments that have to be done. But, you know, a couple goals, just a couple. In the morning, review those goals once again. And if you're still in the same mindset you were in the morning that you were in the night before, then you make those goals your target for that day. It's amazing. You get to the end of the day, you've achieved your goals right off the bat. Those are 2 things that you can be, you know, you can be in a state of gratitude for. And when you do your prayer work or whatever, you know, meditation, however you make your connection with God, you know, that becomes part of it. And how great and wonderful is that? So, you know, that's how we want to do our day. We start with God, we end with God, and we understand that during the entire day, that God is in everything that we see. God is surrounding us, and God is expressing through us each and every day. There is but one life. That life is God. That life is our life right now. How wonderful is that? You know, when we get to a consciousness of that, you know, if nothing else, that is a place to find joy within yourself. And it's not a bad place to be, my friends. You are more powerful than what you think. You're greater than you have any understanding, and God is always there available to you. I thank you for being with me this week, and you can always reach out to me via our email, which is Madera, spelled out MADERASAC for Spiritual Awareness Center at gmail.com. And I can be reached if you have questions. If there's something you'd like counseling or prayer treatment on, please feel free to reach out and touch me. I'd appreciate it. So as you go through the week, as you go through your week, put yourself in a state of consciousness and understand that it's the light of God that surrounds you, and the love of God enfolds you. It's the power of God that protects you, and the presence of God watches over you, because truly, wherever you are, God is there. All is well thereof. Make it a great week. Thank you, my friends, and I'll see you next time.
This segment is brought to you by Mike Briggs Properties. The recession's over. It's now safe to sell your home. Call Mike Briggs Properties.
We've been thinking about this for a while on how we can really match up economic development and workforce development.
In order to have successful businesses, the businesses needed a successful workforce. And so the EDC and the DSS partnered together to put together training programs that are tailored to specific industries.
We need to have our clients be private sector focused, private sector ready, and better to learn that from the private sector than from the government.
This was a different idea, and this intrigued me. I've got 3 guys out in the field working, no problem at all with them. Very good kids. I enjoy hiring people that need a second chance. The employees that work for us are our most important asset. That's why I have to have good employees. We need to all work together and try to figure out on how to do this, and that's why I like the program.
I'm Greg Steen, your host for the Truth for Seniors show. Glad you're joining us today and coming to you from Central Valley Talk in the heart of Fresno. So every Wednesday at 2 you can find us, and we'll be here giving you the most up-to-date and accurate information possible, bringing you experts, as we promised, from lots of different fields related to seniors, senior needs, caregiver needs, and everything that goes with that. So if you're looking for the right information and timely information, this is the place to be.
Choose your phone, not your carrier, with Wireless Connection Merced, located at 3144 G Street, Suite 145 in Merced, California. Wireless Connection sells new and used phones, offers cell phone repair, and will unlock phones from any carrier. Call 209-626-5554 or visit wirelessconnectionmerced.com.
Here at Central Valley Talk, we've chosen Select Business Systems to provide for our copy, print, and scanning needs. We used to think it was cheaper to purchase our own toner and maintain our own office equipment. But now, with the expertise and experience of Select Business Systems, our office workflow is running at peak performance, saving our company time and money. They've truly set us up with our new Sharp multifunction copier, streamlining our office with the press of a button. To find out how you can improve your office technology, call Select Business Systems at 446-0123 or visit their website at selectsharp.com.
CentralValleyTalk.com.